And it's continued till today, the impeachment procedure is going on today, and they're doing it for one reason. The impeachment procedures now are designed to try to cover up and get the public's attention on the impeachment and not on what John Durham and the Attorney General Barr are doing with looking into the Russian hoax, which was a coup d'etat, all the things, the Russian dossier funded by Hillary Clinton and the DNC, and all of the things that John Brennan, that Jim Clapper, that Comey, and unfortunately that President Obama approved, as well as Vice President Joe Biden. Their hands are all covered with this greatest treason, and I believe that's why they have made this stupid move, which they did by impeaching the president without any without any crimes or misdemeanors, and they don't have any provisions. And if the Republicans approve of witnesses coming in, they are just supporting an incompetent investigation by the House.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, as President Trump's legal team continues to expose the Democrats' sham impeachment hoax that they've been running through the Senate now, we are going to take a deep dive into all of the latest breaking news stories. We're going to follow the money. We're going to look at why the Hussein administration is so terrified of what President Trump is going to expose with the Durham investigation that was predicated off of the FISA investigation that was put forth by the Inspector General, and a whole bunch of other information you guys are going to want to stick around and check out right here. We're going to follow the money, so stick around and check it out. Hi, my name is Craig. Welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. You guys know I always say thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done it, come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and then select the all button to notify you when all of these videos get posted so you don't miss one. Now, we always look over at the Q board, and we are still waiting on the new Q posts to come, but January 23rd, 2020, Q post 3794 is where we left off, and we have some big stories that have broken. You guys have probably seen the news already about Kobe Bryant and the helicopter crash that took him out, and then a bunch of other big news stories, including why the Hussein administration is so terrified of what President Trump's doing and why they'll do anything, and that includes break the law in order to keep President Trump from getting reelected and finishing his term right now. So we're going to dive right into that first, covering this story. TheAmericanReport.org, Mary Fanning, Alan Jones, great work on there and keeping us all up to date with what's going on. But let's take a look into why the Obama administration is so terrified of President Trump and what he's doing. We start here. Chuck Woosley, John Brennan, Jim Clapper, and James Comey according to this article, framed Trump and Flynn in the Russian collusion hoax, fearing exposure of the hammer. Now, what is the hammer? We've talked about the hammer here on this channel before, but I'll leave some links to the AmericanReport.org in the description of this video if you want to learn more. But to summarize it very quickly for those who are new, the hammer was a super surveillance system that was originally created and used by the NSA, which apparently was stolen or commandeered or co-opted, allegedly, by the Obama administration under the purview of President Obama, and being actually done by Clapper, Woolsey, and Brennan. What they did was they brought this super secret surveillance system to Fort Washington in Maryland. Then they weaponized it against their political opponents and used it subsequently to try and frame President Trump and to keep their control on power in our country, because they had committed so many crimes, it seems, that once this all comes out, the American people are going to be shocked and disgusted that these individuals were allowed to hold positions of power. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, remember, we have to follow the money. Follow the money. That is an important aspect to all of this, right? I believe there are people who have never gotten over the fact that Obama was able to send $1.7 billion in cash to Iran, and nobody in Congress, the FBI, or Justice called for an investigation. Now, who are those people that haven't gotten over it? President Trump, his administration, his newly appointed directors of intelligence, and the other NSA directors including former Admiral Mike Rogers and now 4-star General Paul Nakasone. So if we're going to get into the bottom and we're going to dig into why the Democrats have everything to lose if President Trump continues to remain in office and to win re-election, we have to understand why they are panicking, why they're acting in such a desperate manner as to take a point of argument or objection to the president's legitimacy in this impeachment hoax without presenting any crimes or misdemeanors. Just saying basically he may have obstructed Congress somewhere, which is not a really defined crime. It's just some vague, ambiguous term that means nothing other than they're going to use anything they can to overthrow this presidency. Now, what do I mean by that? It goes to exactly what we found out here. Remember what Loop Capital was. Remember that these people were able to organize and facilitate one of the largest fleecing of government ever. They were able to basically funnel, allegedly, millions and millions of dollars into their own private slush funds abroad and then sell us out to our foreign adversaries here. And this is what we're up against. These are the kind of people who are right now trying to take out a duly elected president with this coup d'etat. They are the ones who are involved in some of the most criminal actions ever to be reported in the history of the U.S. government. So this may go down in the history books, ladies and gentlemen, as something that has never been seen before on this scale and this scope. And remember, as Q told us back in, and we're looking at older Q posts right here. So we started off, we were looking at one from February of 2018. Then we were looking at one from January of 2018. And then this one from November of 2017, where Q was telling us how we have to look closer at Hussein, his ties to Abedin, Saudi Arabia, and his ties to the Harvard Law Review, and Prince Al-Walid bin Talal funding his time at Harvard, right? And then him becoming a senator in Illinois and ultimately becoming the president of the United States. Was this all orchestrated over time as a deep infiltration into our government? Then they went and enriched themselves and sold us out to our enemies. We have to really look closely at that, not to mention the fact, have we really taken the time to examine and investigate why President Trump was able to defeat ISIS in literally almost no time compared to President Obama, who let it grow over the entire span of his administration? And also looking at North Korea. Are we ever going to look deeper into North Korea and what happened with all of the different staging and setups that were put in there, right? The proxy wars that were being handled by the puppet handlers, right? These people were removing their enemies from positions of power and influence and installing their own. And then we had to come in and take over and basically do the same thing back. So this, I think, is really a big storyline that you're going to have to continue to follow. And it goes right into things like this, the Wayne Simmons story, right? This is a person who came forward, right? A whistleblower who came forward to expose the fact that the Obama administration was orchestrating the sale of weapons to, you guessed it, our enemies in the ISIS fighters who were killing American soldiers abroad, apparently. And this person had his life destroyed and ended up getting sentenced to prison for coming forward and trying to expose the crimes of the Obama administration, right? And how they basically contracted him to set everything up and then threw him out and lied to him, misled him, and lied to the American people, and ended up doing everything they could to try to destabilize that area in the Middle East. Why? Well, because it precipitated and it caused the need for the Iran deal, which was a way for them to funnel billions of dollars out of the United States into unknown places where it couldn't be audited or tracked. And a lot of that money allegedly seems to have made it back into their pockets, right? And we have patriots inside of our government, including Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney and Major General Paul Valley, two patriots who've come forward and have gone endlessly trying to expose this, right? Not to mention, as we talked about before, you have, General Flynn, another incredible patriot who was advising President Trump on what was happening in the Middle East with the Obama strategy, and basically saying, look, Mr. President, we have all of this going on and we have to undo it and we have to, save this country. And now they went after him. They've put him in this pretzel. They've twisted him into a pretzel, legally speaking, with all of these court cases. They keep pushing back his sentencing. They know he's innocent. They know that they framed him. They tried to set him up because he knew where all the bodies were buried, right? And they had to get rid of him, just like President Trump coming in had to be gotten rid of. You guys can read these articles for yourself, and you'll get a good understanding of what is happening here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but theamericanreport.org, Mary Fanning, Alan Jones, good stuff. Now, what was he talking about, though, with the weapons? What weapons were they sending? Well, it seems that there were 400 U.S. surface-to-air missiles that were stolen, in quotes, from Libya during the Benghazi attack and are now in the hands of al-Qaeda, claims the whistleblower. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Think about this. Think about what this means. If it was all orchestrated for the Obama administration to continue to give our enemies weapons like surface-to-air missiles that could be used to shoot down helicopters. I don't know, like helicopters, what helicopter crashed that was full of a bunch of patriots who knew the truth about what actually happened in the Osama bin Laden raid? The SEAL Team 6 helicopter that was shot down. Does anybody remember that? Does anybody want to talk about that? No. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. It wasn't like the weapons were given to our enemies and then they were used to take out soldiers who are probably the biggest patriots in this entire country. Some of the biggest patriots, I should say. There are a lot of patriotic people. It's not like we're trying to have a contest here. But the point is, this is treason. This is betrayal. This is the worst kind of crime you could ever imagine. And now you have the Senate looking at an impeachment hoax because President Trump had a perfectly fine phone call with the president of Ukraine saying, hey, we should probably investigate this criminal deal between Joe Biden and your country where he extorted a prosecutor in a quid pro quo to be fired so that they would stop investigating his son. But nothing to see here. Now, going forward to their tactics and how they're trying to fight back against President Trump, you have John Bolton here. Apparently, this is Sean Davis, a good Twitter account to follow if you haven't yet. Some interesting information saying John Bolton's running the exact same revenge playbook against Trump that James Comey used. He's even using the same agent and leaking to the same reporters, all because he's mad Trump fired him for leaking and trying to start new wars. It's so boring and predictable. So a lot of people have said this. There's two camps right now. People say John Bolton's in part of the plan. John Bolton is not a part of the plan. John Bolton's good. John Bolton's bad. I can only tell you what I've heard, what I've kind of collected and gathered from people I know. A lot of people I hear say he might not be the best guy in the world. Okay, and I don't think President Trump has any reason to really lie about that in this circumstance. And I think that Bolton is a part of the problem right now. And he may be using the same tactics it says here as Comey did in leaking his information that was classified information. And this is a great point brought up by Matt McAwick, saying leaking a book that has not gone through national security classification review is the same thing as leaking classified material. There should be a federal criminal leak investigation immediately. Well, I agree with Matt 150,000% on this. And I'll take it even a step further. Breitbart now just reporting today, right, or yesterday, that Alexander Vindman's brother, Yevgeny, the special lawyer for what I think is the Department of Justice or National Security Council ethics lawyer, yeah, right, clears publications by saying NSA officials. So wait, this, excuse me, I was just reading the title, but the story is this. Vindman's brother seems to be the person who leaked the document, the transcript of John Bolton out to the press. You can't make this stuff up, right? Source close to the Trump administration informs Breitbart News that Army Lieutenant Colonel Yevgeny Vindman, a senior ethics lawyer for the National Security Council, is in charge of reviewing all publications by current and former NSC officials. The official added that Yevgeny Vindman could have seen former National Security Advisor John Bolton's draft manuscript after it was submitted for pre-publication review at the end of December. The review is a standard process that allows the NSA to review book manuscripts, op-eds, or any other materials for any classified material to be eliminated before publication. So the New York Times reported Sunday evening that Bolton's draft book manuscript, which had been submitted to the National Security Council for pre-publication review on December 30th, alleged that President Trump told Bolton in August 2019 that he wanted to withhold security assistance to Ukraine until it agreed to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden, among others. So let me just stop here. The Democrats' argument is this, right? That it is illegal for President Trump to basically force Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his dealings with Burisma Holdings and Hunter Biden and a previous administration there in Ukraine. But that's exactly what Joe Biden admitted to doing, right? On tape, we have the tape. I'm not going to play it again. I played it 1,000 times here on this channel. He literally says, we withheld $1.5 billion of aid to Ukraine so that he would get the prosecutor investigating his son's company fired. And now all we're asking for is the American people who democratically elected President Trump to go out and do this. This was the mandate that we gave to the president, was we want to expose corruption, expose these criminals who have exploited our government and used it to enrich themselves and make themselves the most powerful people in the world, basically untouchables, if you will. We want them to be held to account for their crimes, right? That is a crime. They were extorting a foreign government in order to basically enrich themselves, right? And to cover up their corruption. So I've used this analogy before. It's like a cop, gets a radio call that says, there's a bank robbery in progress, and you race through the bank, you blow through a red light or two, and you do a few illegal lane switches, and all of a sudden you get to the bank, stop the bank robber, and they want to arrest the cop for switching lanes without using a blinker. It's insanity, right? But that's the level of hysteria and just complete corruption that we're going up against right here. Not to mention you have Schiff going off on President Trump, saying that this tweet right here where President Trump says, Adam Schiff is a corrupt politician and probably very sick man. He has not paid the price yet for what he has done to our country. And I couldn't agree more. The Standard Hotel, Rachel Chandler, we know what little Adam Schiff is all about, right? And the American people are going to find this out eventually, and these people are going to be exposed because they're the ones that decided to do these sick and awful things, allegedly, apparently, in order to get power. And as Q told us, the more depraved things you're willing to do, the more power you get, right? The more lines you're willing to cross, the more power they give you. The more compromise you make yourself, the bigger you can get. And then Adam Schiff gets up there and has the gall, the audacity to get up there on Meet the Press with, whatever that idiot's name is who runs that show, Chuck Todd, and basically lie to the American people and say that President Trump is threatening him. I don't know if it's a lie, really. Is it a lie? If the threat is that you're going to be held accountable for your criminal actions and we're going to expose you, you corrupt hack, then it wasn't a lie. It is a threat that in the sense that legally and lawfully, you will be exposed. You will be criminally held accountable for what you've done, and we are going to have justice in this country. No more two-tier justice system. Because you know what, guys? Everybody just rest assured that patriots are now in control. I can tell you that right now, but you don't have to take my word for it. Just watch and see what happens. As you have despicable, this Kerry is dismissing the Biden-Ukraine questions as an effort to do a Benghazi and do an email thing. That's literally what he says. You can't make this stuff up. He got up in front of a crowd of people, and here, I'll play the clip. This guy's a bumbling moron.
The reason they're trying to use this Ukraine thing is purely to do a Benghazi, to do, an email kind of thing, whatever. Just hammer and hammer and hammer and throw the mud, and you wait and see what happens tomorrow on the floor of the Senate with their defense. They're just going to be playing it dirty, trying to attack and mess people up. How do you fight back against that if you don't fight back against it? If you succumb in this nominating process to the notion that somebody raised a phony issue and throws mud, oh my God, there's mud there, so we can't go with that person, that's wrong. The way you fight back is by making certain you fight for the truth.
Okay, so there you just saw John Kerry summarize everything. And you know why John Kerry is going with Biden now? You know why these guys are all coming together? Do you know who Christopher Hines is? You guys, we have to understand that Hunter Biden wasn't working by himself. It wasn't just some fluke that he ended up in Ukraine making millions of dollars or in China getting $1.5 billion. Christopher Hines is, you guessed it, the stepson of John Kerry, who is a partner in the Rosemont Seneca Partners firm that was created by Hunter Biden, Devin Archer, and Christopher Hines. And who else is Christopher Hines? Christopher Hines doesn't also just happen to be the stepson of John Kerry. Oh, wait, his mom happens to be John Kerry's wife, who is the Heinz heiress. You know, Heinz ketchup, that big company that you put on your, you know, the everything, Heinz mustard, Heinz ketchup, whatever. So you got to understand, these corrupt criminals embedded themselves inside of our government. They basically were all playing ball with each other and, you know, turning a blind eye to one another's corruption over and over again, whether it was Republican, Democrat, Bush, Clinton, Obama, whoever. It didn't matter. They were all the same. They were all in the same secret societies, 322, Skull and Bones. Look it up, okay? Yale, Harvard. These people thought they could take over our country. They thought they know what's best for our country. They thought they could make us, you and me, into subservient slaves, right? They are terrified of President Trump because he broke the mold. He stood up for the American people. He stood up against this modern day enslavement of our society by taking away our rights, the right to privacy, the right to our firearms to protect ourselves, the right to free speech. They've systematically worked day in, day out for decades now to destroy all of those things and to make us powerless. But now we've taken back a little bit of power. And there are people inside of our government who are willing to put everything on the line. And we are putting everything on the line because we will never back down from this corruption and these criminals. And we will expose them at whatever cost, no matter what. So they can rest assured that they can talk about how they're going to fight back. But it's not going to end well for them, because guess what? In the end, God wins. And right now, patriots are in control of this country, and you can mark my words, they will not get away with these crimes. And that's where I'm going to leave it. But a few more things. Here's Ilhan Omar under FBI review now for allegedly marrying her brother. Well, what does she tie back to? She ties back to, all types of interesting things. Look at Qatar. And then understand, too, when we go back and look at what we were talking about earlier in the episode, Imran Awan, right? The infiltration of Congress, the selling of private, secret information to foreign governments to use as fodder for blackmail against our government, to entrench further their own operatives who could then be used over time to undermine the strength, security of this nation. That's what we're up against, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to figure out. Not to mention you have Q telling us before about hunters becoming the hunted and a higher loyalty, talking about James Comey. And then we look at what happened with Kobe Bryant, and there's some interesting things there. I'm just going to leave that for your imagination, not to mention the fact we had this today or yesterday. We had the Covington Catholic kids coming back from the March for Life, having their bus smashed into with a apparent driver going the wrong way down the road. Oh, just a coincidence, nothing to see here. Now, just to give you a little bit of hope, though, to remind you that there are patriots in control and things are happening, you have John Durham apparently announcing the appointment of a new criminal chief, this Miss Carwan, Sarah P. Carwan, to be more exact. She's going to be the U.S. Attorney's Office's new head chief of criminal division. And what's her background in? Miss Carwan most recently served as chief of the district's major crimes unit, supervising the prosecution of cases involving immigration, human trafficking, and child exploitation, civil rights and hate crimes, government program fraud, and environmental crimes. So this is what we're replacing little by little the deep state with. People who are going to prosecute by the letter of the law, who are going to follow the law, who are going to try to help this country right itself and make sure that we hold these people to account who have criminally, tried to destroy it from within. So that's pretty much where we're going to wrap it up. A few more things before we go. Obviously, come here, watch these videos, share them on your social media, get the word out that way. You guys know there's a content suppression algorithm that's keeping this information from most people because they are trying to control it and keep a tight lid on it because they've infiltrated big tech, they've infiltrated government, they've infiltrated all the positions where they can become gatekeepers. And we know the internet broke that stranglehold they had on keeping information away from the public. So we have to continue to share these videos, get it out there. Also, don't forget, if you haven't seen anything about QAnon, you don't know what I'm talking about, watch this video right here. Hit the subscribe button and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about all of this. Also, this video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. Use the link in the description to download the browser for free. It's an internet browser just like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, whatever, you name it, but it's better. It blocks ads. It makes your internet life that much easier, and it's a great tool. I use it. I really encourage you to use it, and it's a win-win. When you download it for free, install it, and run it on your computer, they'll make a contribution to this channel, and it's definitely, I think, a great opportunity for you to get a great product for free. Also, you can come follow me here on Twitter at JUSTINFORMED. It's a great way to connect outside the channel. Also, I have a BitChute backup channel, JustinFormed Talk. It's bitchute.com/JustinFormed Talk. Also, JustinFormedNews.com, the official website for JustinFormed Talk. A couple other ways you can help out are both financial, Patreon, patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. You guys set it and forget it. It's a monthly donation. Know you're helping create content on this channel. So you guys know they've tried to put this channel out of business, but you guys have kept it alive. So your support is literally what keeps this content coming, and we'll just keep going as long as you guys are here with us. We're not going to stop. So we're here together. Where we go on, we go all. But also, if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, I have a GoFundMe set up, and links to everything we've talked about will be in the description. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today, I have a very appropriate piece of scripture. Not that any one is more than appropriate than another, but it's very appropriate to what we've talked about here today. And it's talking about the just judge. And this is talking about what's going to happen to all these evil people who think they're going to get away with these crimes. And I'm going to read this to you in its entirety. It's Psalm 94. It says, Lord, God of vengeance appear. Rise up, judge of the earth. Repay the proud what they deserve. Lord, how long will the wicked gloat? They pour out arrogant words. All the evildoers boast. Lord, they crush your people. They afflict your heritage. They kill the widow and the foreigner and murder the fatherless. They say, the Lord doesn't see it. The God of Jacob doesn't pay attention. Pay attention, you stupid people. Fools, when will you be wise? Can the one who shaped the ear not hear? The one who formed the eye not see? The one who instructs nations? The one who teaches man knowledge, does he not discipline? The Lord knows man's thoughts. They are meaningless. Lord, happy is the man you discipline and teach from your law to give him relief from troubled times until a pit is dug for the wicked. The Lord will not forsake his people or abandon his heritage, for justice will again be righteous, and all the upright in heart will follow it. Who stands up for me against the wicked? Who takes a stand for me against evildoers? If the Lord had not been my help, I would soon rest in silence of death. If I say my foot is slipping, your faithful love will support me, Lord. When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy. Can a corrupt throne, one that creates trouble by law, become your ally? They band together against the life of the righteous and condemn the innocent to death, but the Lord is my refuge. My God is the rock of my protection. He will pay them back for their sins and destroy them for their evil. The Lord our God will destroy them. And look, I can't say it any better than that. That is the word right there for you to hear for yourself. God is going to have the final judgment in all of this. And these corrupt, evil people will face their ultimate judgment, and they will be held to account. And we here on this earth are going to continue to have faith in the Lord and put our faith in the fact that God will deliver us from this evil. God will save us from all that is gone wrong. It may not be in our timing. It may not come according to the way that we think it should, but it will happen according to God's will. And we just have to be strong in our faith in that. And remember that when our feet are slipping, God's faithful love supports us, right? So that's my message to you. And I want you all to remember, put your faith in the Lord, stay righteous, and live well, and do unto others, and become lights for the world to shine out and spread the gospel, spread the message of Christ, and spread the message of God far and wide, and just temper yourselves with that. When you see this evil and this injustice, just temper yourselves with that and help bring that to others, to bring them ease and comfort in these times, because God is going to win. God wins. Read the Bible. All right, that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Thanks for watching this episode. Come here, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you hit the bell notifications stand. Hit it, punch it, tap it, elbow it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.